We begin with breaking news. Moorhead police say a teen has been arrested after a murder overnight. Officers were called to 6th Avenue and Elm Street just after midnight for a report of a missing person. While searching the area, they found a woman's body. That woman has still not been identified. However, police say 18-year-old Isaac Arthur Arndt has been taken into custody in Fargo on felony homicide charges. Valley News Live will keep you posted as we learn more. Today, we're also learning new information on that deadly shooting over the weekend outside of a West Fargo church. We've just learned the shooter, 53-year-old Donald Barron, is a teacher at West Fargo High School. School leaders shared the following news with families. They say while the investigation is ongoing, there are no pending charges against Mr. Barron. After talking with police, they determined that Mr. Barron would not be placed on administrative leave and that he could continue teaching. They are working with police and will make changes if needed. Police say Barron fired the deadly shot at 25-year-old Austin Strom Saturday in the Prairie Heights Church parking lot. We learned more about that case yesterday. Police say Strom was trying to enter the church that morning when he was confronted by a man named Cat Hodges. Both are members of the church. Police say Strom became upset and attacked Hodges. They say Barron saw this and tried to intervene. When Strom advanced on him, he fired a shot with his handgun. We sat down with the Cass County State's Attorney's Office this afternoon to learn what's next. Tune in for that interview tonight at 6.